Looks like we're going to need a bigger table, because this week we're playing Jaws. Jaws board game, very much like the movie. It's all about capturing and finding the monstrous killer shark, Jaws. In this game, one person plays as the shark, one person plays as Hooper the scientist, Brody the sheriff, or Quint the hunter. In this game, it's a 2-act structure. In the first act, it's all about finding the shark, and the shark has hidden movements as it moves around this board, while the other 3 are trying to deduce where that shark is. In this game, in this video, we're going to talk about how to set up, how to play, and how to win Jaws. This game can play anywhere from 2 to 4 players, although I would say it's probably optimally best at 4 players. One person is a shark, one person is each of the other characters from the movie. So as far as setup goes, Brody starts off at Amity PD. Hooper and his speedboat start off on North Beach. Quint and the Orca start off over here on number 8, or the Eastern Docks. Also, Quint gets these 2 barrels to start out with. Brody gets this closed beach closed sign, and this binoculars. And Hooper gets this fish finder. The shark gets this board, and he also gets a red clip in which is put onto the zero tracker down here at the bottom. The shark also gets 4 of these power-up abilities and a booklet which helps out with hiding their movements, but keeping track of it here. Also for Act 1, you will need to have some extra barrels available here. 1 barrel needs to go onto the shop section, and then all these swimmers here, and there's a bunch of them. Also, you will need your Amity event cards. So in other games like you've seen, like Quacks of Quedlinburg, each round will start with an Amity event card being drawn, and that sort of setting the scene for what's happening during this part of the movie. So as far as setup goes for Act 1, that's it. Going into the actually how to play. So the first thing that happens before anything else is the shark decides where they're going to be located. So they'll look in their little book, and at the top it has a start location. And at this start location here, they're going to write down what number or letter of where they want to start. They can start at 3, they can start at N, they can start pretty much anywhere on the board they would like. However, they keep this secret for themselves. After all, the other 3 characters are trying to find out where the shark is. Next thing that happens, we flip over an Amity event card. So each of these cards do different things. For instance, on this one, this is Shark Alert. On this one, it has these letters here and this little swimmer symbol, and that is where the swimmers will go onto the board. So, for instance, on this one, it has 2 for the N, so 2 go to North Beach. 1 for the W, so 1 goes there. If the shark swimmer tracker is at 3 or lower, also put some more out there. And there we go to south, west, and east. So, now we should probably talk about motive for everything. The shark is trying to eat as many swimmers as possible. It's a very hungry boy. We are trying to find the shark and hit the shark with 2 of these tracking barrels. Once either the shark has eaten 9 swimmers, or we have successfully hit the shark with both of these barrels, then we move into Act 2. So, and also these acts can be played as standalones by themselves. And so for the instance of example, we're going to say the shark decided to start at number 3. Alright, so now that that's done, the shark now has 3 actions. Its options of actions are moving a location and eating a swimmer. That's pretty much all it can do. But it does have these 4 power-up cards which help out, which help the shark out. Its things are evasive moves, and so whenever these barrels are out into the water, they track movement. So if a shark moves through there, the shark has to tell you that they moved through that space. However, with evasive moves, they can do that without having to tell you. Speed Burst. What Speed Burst does is it allows you to move 3 extra spaces. So normally you could only move 3, so it could be 1, 2, 3. With 6, you can move all the way around the board. So very beneficial. Feeding Frenzy. Normally you have to eat only 1 swimmer at a time, but with Feeding Frenzy, you can eat every single swimmer at that location. Out of Sight. there are a couple of really useful tools that the good guys have to find the shark. The fish finder being one and the binoculars being another. With the out of sight, you're able to avoid either one of those. So, shark is secretly here, although no one else knows that. They now have 3 actions to decide where they want to go. This 3 moves all the way around here. So, one of their actions could be moving into West Beach. One of their actions could be eating a swimmer. And another action could be moving out of there. Perhaps they're scared that they're going to be detected if they're there for too long. And that would be an example of their turn. Next is Team Human, we're going to call it. Team Human now is alerted to whatever happens. If there's any of these barrels that are triggered, they're let known at that point. And they're not told which one, they're just told that a barrel has been triggered. They're also told that, hey, a swimmer from West Beach has gone missing. At the end of the shark's turn, they will say that they have used a power-up ability. They won't say which one they've used, but they will need to tell you that they've used a power-up card. So now it is up to these 3 to determine which order they want to go in and what their game plan is going to be. We'll go through each individual person and explain what they do. Quint is probably the MVP of the first section for sure. He is able to move 1 space in his boat. Next thing is he can rescue a swimmer. He could rescue this swimmer and move him off the board. And that's 1 less swimmer that a shark could potentially eat. Also, he can pick up any barrels. So, for instance, if this barrel was over here in 4, he could be in that section. He could pick up that barrel and add it to his boat. And then the last thing is launching barrels. So, for instance, he can only do this once per round, but if he thinks the shark is in 4, he can shoot that barrel over into 4 and hopefully hit the shark. If the shark's not there, nothing happens. But that is now a tracking sensor that can find the shark if it moves through there. That's all he can do. Brody has a lot to do. Brody can move anywhere on land. He can rescue a swimmer, so if he happens to be at South Beach, he could rescue the swimmer, moving him off the board. He can also pick up a barrel. So probably his best feature is that he can move to the shop and he can pick up barrels. And so he can move back to a dock and load up one of the other boats. So yeah, he can pick up barrel and he can also drop a barrel. He also has the ability to use binoculars. If he uses binoculars at a beach, then he'll be able to tell if the shark is there. If the shark is there, the shark is then revealed at that location. If not, then the shark just says, I'm not there. He can go to the mayor's office or Amity PD, and he can close a beach. If there's a beach that has no swimmers, he can just close that beach off. And basically what that does is that prevents any swimmers from moving there. Once another event card is drawn that says, hey, swimmers need to go to West Beach, this is flipped over. And that means this beach is opening soon, and then after that round is over, this will be removed from the board. And that's all that Brody can do, which is plenty, trust me. Hooper, however, he's able to move 2 spaces in his boat because he has a speedboat. He's able to just zip around the board. He can move, extremely fast in his boat. He can also rescue a swimmer, just like everyone else. He can also pick up any or all barrels, so he can pick up multiple barrels at once. He can pick them up from the water or from a dock. He can also give barrels to Quint, so for instance, maybe we're loading up him over here, and he can zip over here and hand him a barrel. And he can use the fish finder, which is only once per round, but this is also a very useful tool to finding the shark. So what he'll do is he'll go to a location where he thinks the shark is. He'll plant this fish finder. And if the shark is there, the shark is revealed. If not, then the shark will say, if the shark is in 7 or 5 or 3, then he'll say, I'm near. If he's not in either of those sections or in W, then he will say, I'm not there. In which case we know that all of these sections do not have the shark unless the shark used that specific ability. At the end of the shark's turn, they will say that they have used a power-up ability. They won't say which one they've used, but they will need to tell you that they've used a power-up card. And that's pretty much what everyone can do. So, once the shark gets done with their turn, they'll reveal whether they use a power-up card, if they hit one of those triggers, or if they ate a swimmer, they'll remove the swimmer from that section. Once they're done with their turn, then it's the human side's team turn, and they can decide whichever order they want to go in. And, you know, Brody can go do all his 4 actions, because each of these guys have 4 actions to do. The shark only has 3. They each have a number of actions that they can do, and the most important thing to know is you want to find where the shark is, and then have Quint lob one of those barrels into that location and hit the shark. If you can do that twice, then that triggers the end of the round. Triggers the end of Act 1. And that's how you successfully win Act 1. The shark, however, is going to continually move around the board, eating as many people as possible, and hoping that they get to 9. That's how you play Act 1 of Jaws. Act 2, setup is like this. Clear this board, flip over this board to reveal this blank ocean here. The shark and everyone else flips over their board, and the shark puts a red clip up here on 0. One thing you're going to do is you're going to have to assemble the boat. Make sure you pick the side that is undamaged up top. It'll be the one that have the black and white numbers revealed, not the ones with just the black. Okay, depending on how well the shark did in Act 1, or how poorly the others did, will determine how many crew gear cards that the crew gets. It also will determine how many shark ability cards that the shark gets. These are pretty important for the shark, and the crew gear cards are extremely important for crew. So these are things that really matter with how well the shark did. Let's say they got 6 people killed. If they got 6 people killed, then on the back side here, on the front side before you flip it over, you can see how many cards you get. So with 6 people killed, you'll be getting 6 crew gear cards split between the 3 of them, and also 7 shark ability cards. So, and these crew ability cards range in what they do. I'll kind of go over an example of each, but I'm not going to go through all of them because most of them are pretty self-explanatory, I think. We also have these resurface cards. They also will need to be shuffled up, and these will be set here on the deck section. The crew members each have their own 2 cards that are their own, and that is separate from their supplies, but they get these as well as that. Also, you can see that on the right side of their board here is a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an X. That is how many life points they have. That's how much damage they've taken. So everyone's going to start out at 0. In this example, we're treating it as though 6 people were eaten by the shark. The shark will get these 3 fin icons, which have A, B, and C on the back side. We also have these smaller ones that say A, B, and C that just need to be set up for now. Then we have these resurface cards. And we're going to go through and explain what the resurface cards mean, because it's very important for this section. So looking at this resurface card here, on this one example here, you can see that it has a location on the boat. So, for instance, we're going to treat this as A. So this location on the boat will get this A symbol. Next thing is you can see is a fin with a number in it. That is an evade value. Whenever you're trying to attack the shark, you have to roll these dice, and you're going to subtract whatever that number is. Next thing you see are 3 red die here. That is for the shark. If the shark chooses to go to that location, they're going to roll 3 dice trying to attack and destroy the ship and anyone that's destroy the boat and anyone that happens to be on that location. And now the shark has a choice. They have to pick if they want to go to A, B, or C. And A is here, B is here, C is here. Now you can see on these locations they have a 1 and a 3 or a 2 and a 4. What that means is how much damage they need to do to destroy, injure, or destroy that part of the ship. So let's say the shark went to here and attacked, and they did 2 points of damage. Then they would flip this piece over, and it would now be injured but not destroyed. However, if they did 4 points of damage, it would completely disappear from the board, and anyone who was on that space would fall into the water there. So they're going to look at these, and they're going to secretly decide which one they want to do. There's also some that have a hook on them. There are some items that are able to hook onto the shark, and using this, you're able to release yourself from whatever the attachment is. So, you know, depending on the situation, it might be a ringer for if you think the shark is actually going to go there. So the shark decides, they secretly decide, using these little tokens here, which one they're going to go with. And let's say they choose A, and they put that face down. Once they've done that, our crew will be put randomly onto this boat, wherever they would like. They will then move up to 2 spaces, wherever they would like to go. So green might move here, black might move here, and blue might move to here. Blue might move here. Now what they're going to do is they're going to look at their gear, and they're going to decide which thing they're going to use. So black is up close and personal, so they're going to use a baseball bat. Hooper is going to use a rifle. Quint is actually going to move here, and they're going to use a flare. Now that's each of the different types of items that you have in this game. If the card has a fist on it, that means you have to be within melee range of them. That means you have to be in the space that they pop up. So basically, Brody would be hoping that the shark would be coming exactly to C. Also, they have these little target symbols. This lets you pick which location you're targeting, especially if you have range weapons, because you can shoot anywhere on the boat with those. So, for instance, Hooper is using the rifle. They're going to shoot over here into A. Brody has that baseball bat, so they're going to choose the section that they're in. And then Quint has a hook item, so he needs to be in the same location as well to use that. So, with the baseball bat, if Jaws had chosen to go there, you look on the card, it has 2 dice. You would roll 2 dice, and that's 2 hits. However, C location has 2 on the fin, so 2 minus 2 is 0. That would be 0 damage done to the shark. Let's say the rifle. Let's say Jaws popped up here on A, which is where he actually did. In this case, Hooper would choose 2 die and roll, and they would add 1 hit to it. So that's 1 plus 1, that makes 2. Minus 1, that means 1 point of damage is done to the shark, and the shark moves that on here. And then the third option here, let's say the shark went to this location. If they chose this location, then basically Quint would just attach this flare to them. And each of these cards do a little bit different. The flare does 1 point of damage each round that's attached to the shark. And that's where you might see the shark go to a location that had a hook on it because they're trying to get rid of that flare. Basically, this repeats and keeps going around. Once the shark has decided where they want to go, they will roll as many dice as they have. So they took 1 point of damage here as Hooper shot them. And now they're going to roll 3 dice to try to damage this section. That's 3 points of damage. So that would injure this section, but not quite sink it. If someone happened to be in this location and the shark did clear it out, then they would fall into the water with the shark. The shark then would have a bonus opportunity to hit them. They would roll 1 die, and whoever was in the water would take that many damage. So Hooper would take 1 point of damage in this instance. And that's pretty much it as far as this game goes. There are a number of shark ability cards that all do different things, and it just depends on how many you get. In this example, they would have had 7 at their disposal, and they are pretty useful. Basically, the way Act 2 ends is either the shark goes to 0 HP, takes 18 hits, or each of these members of the crew all fall. They all fall, or the shark falls. That is the end of the game. So, that is how you play Jaws. It's a wonderful game. It's a co-op game, but it also has that PvP element in the shark. And it's also like getting into the mind of whoever's playing the shark and trying to deduce what their logic would be in this situation. It's a lot of fun. It's a blast, and I hope you all tune into our video to watch tomorrow because it is a fun one. Happy 4th of July. Don't spend it on Amity Island. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time because that's the way we roll. The 1, but it only goes up to 2, so what do you expect?